This is the 5th video of our course orientation for college preparatory math. In this video, we want to go through how to kind of navigate the course itself. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to our Barton website. Now the website may look different than what it currently does on the screen, may be updated, but somewhere on the home screen there ought to be a way to get to your Barton portal. For right now, it's up in the upper right on this paw. So I'm going to click on that, and then you go to My Barton Portal. And then there's the sign in. So you're going to use your ID and your password for pause to get in there. And so then you should see something like this, where you have a course listing here. Now so you want to select the proper term, whatever the term may be, and then once you're there, you find the math class that the college prep that you're in, and then you click on this home, and that should then take you into the course directly. And so that's how you get into our course. Let me highlight a few things here for you. First off, the syllabus. The syllabus that we went through is also present within the course shell itself. So if you need to reread anything or need to see anything about the syllabus, it is there for you to look at. I also promised the pacing calendar that I showed in the course orientation is also here. So if you need an idea about if you're going to complete the first 4 modules and only 4, then here's kind of the pacing that you need to go for that row and so on. So you can look at that. Also, we have that flow chart. So if you're ever confused as to where you ought to be in the module, we have our flow chart that you can follow along. But also everything is pretty much laid out even on the home screens. The lab hours, the lab times are also in the course shell for you to be able to view. So they are there as well. So all those things are there. Let me point out something that's very important for you. I told you that you have an ebook associated with this course, and so I want to show you how to get to the ebook. If you click on this multimedia library, and which is the third thing there in the course home, and then you click on multimedia library again, it is going to take you to that. And so you can select different things. So you can, right now it has all chapters and all sections. So if I was interested in looking at in the textbook on whole numbers, you can do the whole chapter. You can even do specific sections if you want, but then you can go grab multimedia textbook if you want. You can do section video lectures. There's all sorts of different things within the ebook that you can get. So once you select something or select multiple things, you can click Find Now, and then it will list out all those different things. So you might be able to go here to subtracting whole numbers, and it will open up in the ebook in that section. I want to highlight a few things here for you. There's some section lecture videos that it's all linked up, so you can. There's all sorts of hyperlinks in it. So you got some videos hyperlinked on some pages. You can select the pages by going here to the next, and scroll up and down the different pages. There's every once in a while a You Try It. That's very helpful. So you click on that You Try It. You can try problems on your own. And so all sorts of great links and hyperlinks within that ebook that you're going to want to utilize. So those pre-tests that we have for each module, you do not necessarily have to go into those cold. You can study ahead, especially on the first 4 modules, which they're arithmetic based. You might be able to show that you already know the material, but maybe you just need a refresher. Feel free to go to the ebook, go to this multimedia library, and look up some stuff, read through some things, practice some problems, maybe study up and so that when you go into that test, it's not cold. So that multimedia library is going to be very important for you. You'll see here on the sidebar, we have our different modules, modules 1 through 12. If you click on, let me just use module 1, you'll see when you click on the home, when you click on the unit screen, it'll tell you what chapter in the book that module reflects. The module number is not necessarily the chapter number in the book. So you can click on that, and everything is listed out. So pre-test, I tell you how many questions there are, about how many minutes you need to be allowing for that test, and so you can get an idea about some of that. And then we have the homework part, and so those are the learning experiences, the personal learning goals. Tells you how many sets of assignments there are with the video lecture and the problem sets, how many journal entries there are, and then being able to do your practice test later on here. But got notebook problem, everything's linked up. So notebook problems, practice test, post test. So everything is linked up. Now let me show you the My Math Lab. So let me go and start and click on the pretest. And so again, there's more directions here, what you have to do. But I click on that module pretest. You may get a pop-up blocker. It's okay. Just click continue. And so you see here we've got, notice that there's flags on some of these things, on all of these things, because I haven't yet done them. So you'll click on the pretest and you'll start there. But I also want to show you that you can stay on this page and not have to go back over here and navigate between quizzes and the quizzes and tests. The quizzes are your journal entries. So if you want to know where your journal entries are at, they're under here under quizzes and tests. So you got the pretest, you got your practice test, post test, all under the testing heading. You'll notice that there's some other tests underneath that box. Ignore all of that. Our tests are in the first box, the quizzes and tests for Unit 1. All these things that say sample, quizzes, and tests, ignore. So we got our pre-test, we got our practice test, we got our post-test. We also got the 2 journal entries here. And it highlights, you'll see here the box, you'll see the quizzes and test box. If you click over here to homework, you see all the homework things. All of them have flags because I have yet to do the pre-test. Once I do the pre-test, the flags will start going away. But let me go ahead and click on personal learning goals and show you what it looks like. I'm an instructor, so I can kind of override here. Under the personal learning goals, it's 1 question. And so here's what it looks like. It's 1 question, but there are 3 parts to it. I want to know more about. I already know something, but I want to know something else. I want to know if or when. What you want to do is that if you click on this View Instructor Tip, it gives you the list of the things, the competencies that are within that module. And so it's these words that you would use to fill in the blanks. So for example, I want to know more about estimating. So you can copy that word, you want to use the word, and you can either type it in the box, or what I like to do is do Control-C for copy and Control-V for paste. And I can go down here and I can switch my window. And maybe, you know what? I already know, I'm very comfortable with adding and subtracting. So I feel very comfortable with that. That's something that I know, adding and subtracting. But I might really struggle with when I start putting everything together in order of operations. So I want to know more about, order of operations. I want to know if or when. This typically happens when you take that pretest seriously and you are able to look at the questions. And so maybe there was a specific question type that you struggled with. So for example, I know how to add and subtract, but when the problem is a word problem, I have trouble knowing what operation to perform. So that's where you would describe a situation. It's not necessarily specifically to a competency, not necessarily typing out one of the competencies in that list, but it's building on it. Now, if you don't take the pretest seriously, you really don't have a response there for that third question. You just have to type in, I can't think of anything here, or I didn't do the pretest, or something along those lines. But if you did the pretest and you're wondering about a certain scenario, that's where you would describe that particular situation. And then you would check answer. Okay? So that's how you submit the personal learning goals. I'm not going to submit it. You will, though, when you do submit it, you will get a box, an X box. It'll say it's wrong. That's okay. Once you've submitted it, you'll click OK. Now let me show you the homework set here. Here's section 1.2. Here's a homework set. You'll see that there's a video. The videos will be on the left side, and then the questions will be on the right. You need to watch the video and take notes over the video whenever you start a module. After the pretest, we will give you a set of notes, fill-in-the-blank notes, based upon the video or videos within the module. And so you'll click on that and you'll take notes over that video in the notes, and then you will do the questions. And so let me click on a question here. Some of them are multiple choice. Some of them are free response, if I can find one like this one. Some of them are free response. So they vary in difficulty and length. Each homework set varies in length. If you ever want to get to your media, that is the videos, you don't have to quit this. Over here is assigned media, and you can click on that and it will give you the choice of the assigned media. You click on that and it will go to that media. Also, let me highlight a few things here. Over here on the right side are some very important helpful links, like Help Me Solve This, where it takes you step by step through the problem. There's also View an Example, which gives you a static example. It'll also, the textbook will take you right into the textbook, right where they talk about this particular problem. On the left side is a math palette. This is where some of the common math symbols and formats are used. And so this palette changes depending upon the types of questions, but you can use this math palette to type in some math within the box. This Ask My Instructor is also a very helpful thing. If you click on that and you have a question concerning the question that you're on, and let's say you're away from the lab, you're working from home. Now, if it's on a weekend, don't expect an immediate response from your instructor. This is not quite that much on demand. But if you click that link and send your instructor a question, the nice thing about that is, as an instructor, I can see the specific problem that you're working on. So that's a very nice little tool to have as well. So I wanted to show you kind of what some of the homework looks like. I also said that there were, at the end of some homework sets, I'm going to ask you to measure your effort and achievement. This is one of them that does it. There's a ranking of 1 to 4. You put the number that best describes your effort. The difference between a 3 and a 4 is how you viewed when difficulties arose. What was your attitude concerning the difficulties? So you rank yourself 1 to 4. And then for achievement, remember the goal is an 80% for the module. So if you are meeting the goal, that's a 3. If you are exceeding that 80% level, then that's a 4. If on your first run through, you're getting 60% or 40%, that's kind of where you're getting into the 1 and 2 range, okay? So, but put in the number that best describes your achievement on that module. So every once in a while, there'll be those 2 questions. So I wanted to show you what those look like. Let me close this out. And let me show you notebook problems. For notebook problems, we're looking for organization, readability, accuracy. So here's just kind of a sample. If you click on the notebook problems link or on the sidebar, you can see this all the time. And so question 1, going down the page, you can use other pages if you need to. But here's kind of an example. You put your name, the date, the module number, the class day and time, and then start with a question and show your work appropriately, not just the answer, and just continue to go down the page and use the next column and so on until you get done. You have to get all 10 correct. This is what you want to turn in with your notebook as your notebook problems. You will also submit your final answers online. Here's kind of what it looks like. It's actually the last problem set on the homework side. You see here, notebook problems. There's 10 questions. Click on a question. Again, on all these things, you can navigate up here. You can click this arrow, this single arrow will move it over once. If the double arrow is highlighted, it'll go to the next set of 10. Since there's only 10 questions, it's just the first 10. And so then you would type in your final answer in here, but you would show appropriate work in your notebook problems as you go through these and turn that in. Submit your final answers online. So that's how the notebook problems work. Notice that there are no help links. There's a math palette, but no help links on the notebook problems. So that kind of brings the module evaluation. Let me talk about that here for a moment. The module evaluation is found not in my math lab, which I've been showing you, but on the sidebar at the end of every module. So if you ever want to do a module evaluation, you click on the module evaluation, begin it, and do the module evaluation from there. So the main things that I want you to get from this navigation part is the multimedia library. That's going to be very helpful for you. And understand that you can go between the homework and the quizzes and tests with the journal entries by clicking back and forth between homework and quizzes and tests. So, like, if I'm working on homework and you'll see here that you'll notice that these flags, if you highlight over the flag, if you think you ought to be in somewhere, if you hover over the flag, it says you must score 8% on the 1.6 homework. So if the flag's not there, that means, if the flag's still there, that means you haven't scored that 80% on the previous assignment. So, but once you do 1.7, if you come down here to 1.8, you'll notice that the assignment says you must do whole number division. Module 1, Journal 1, before starting this assignment. In other words, you get through 1.7, you get the 80% or higher on 1.7, but yet 1.8 isn't opened up. Still has the flag on it. That means that if you hover over the flag, you'll see that there's a journal entry that you got to do. So then what you do is to go to the journal entry, you go to this quizzes and tests, and then here's the journal entry. The flag won't be there anymore. And you click on that journal entry, and you just said, I'm ready to start. And this is the question, and you type in your answer in the box. And with the math palette, you can type in the math. But so that's how you get the journal entry in, and you submit it by clicking Submit Quiz. And then that will open up the next homework assignment. So, but you can click back and forth, go between homework and quizzes and tests, just by clicking up here between these two boxes. You can go between them to go back and forth between your homework set and your journal entries. So those two main things I want you to understand. The multimedia library that has your ebook, and being able to kind of navigate, particularly going between homework and quizzes and tests, and navigating some of the homework pieces. Obviously, with your instructor there live with you, they will be able to answer any questions that you have concerning the navigation, and we will get you logged in and make sure that you have everything that we get you set up, ready to go for Monday.